Thank you. I'm here to talk about Representative Virgil Fludd's bill, so I'm glad he's right here at my side in case I misstate anything. You can correct me. But I am happy to talk about House Bill 1066, which would impose a temporary surcharge on 1% of Georgia's wealthiest individuals. House Bill 1066 creates a temporary 2-year income tax surcharge on 1% of tax filers. This surcharge would apply only to that portion of these individuals' income that exceeds $400,000 per year. And the surcharge would affect less than 1% of Georgia families. Only the wealthiest of Georgians would be affected. This approach follows a model that we've seen adopted in 8 other states, including our neighbors, North Carolina. And just last month, Oregon voters adopted this policy by a statewide referendum. I know that talking about taxes is never a popular topic in the General Assembly, and it's not an issue that any of us take lightly, but unfortunately tough times call for tough decisions to be made. And when we are talking about brutal and devastating budget cuts, we are looking at teacher work days, county health departments being shut down, domestic violence shelters losing their funding, Meals on Wheels programs for seniors. We're talking about critical services that those most in need in our state rely upon. When we're looking at these devastating cuts, I think that this is a debate that we need to engage in, and we need to look at ways to enhance our revenue. This measure could raise over $225 million per year, and I hope that my colleagues in the legislature will lend their support to House Bill 1066. Thank you.
Co-chair of the Working Families Caucus, Representative Virgil Fludd from Fayette and Fulton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my pleasure to talk with you about 2 measures today. And I think what you've heard and what you will continue to hear is a broad-based approach to reforming our tax and our budget policy. It's not a knee-jerk. It's not a reactionary process. We've looked at a number of different areas where we need to address how we affect our budget, and particularly in these difficult times, it's very easy to make decisions when things are going well. It's very easy to say that we're not going to raise taxes and we're not going to have increases, but in reality, when things get tough, that's when real leaders need to stand up. And we've tried to comprise a set of broad-based policies that allow true leaders to stand up and do what is right for the state of Georgia. One of these ways is to do simply a matter of collecting the sales tax that we as citizens already pay. House Bill 356 and its companion bill, House Bill 1137, simply allows us to fill the budget hole. It allows us to generate revenue without raising taxes by collecting the taxes that are already due. We estimate the Department of Revenue is failing to collect as much as $1 billion, that's billion with a B, in sales tax revenue that retail establishments collect but don't turn over to the state or to the local governments. These tax cheaters are getting away with the taxpayers' money while we're slashing huge holes in the safety net on which our working families so solely rely on. So this is about simple fairness. We estimate that 25% of businesses in Georgia may not have sales certificates. They are simply cheating the system. While the Department of Revenue puts the number at a lower figure, even their numbers show that Georgia is failing to collect $240 to $500 million each year that is due and unpaid. This bill proposes a simple process of data sharing between state and local governments that would put a stop to tax cheating. This would allow for the collection of money for state government and equally important for local governments as well. There was a pilot program that was done in 4 cities and 4 states 4 counties across the state, and it shows, again, that our estimates are more than accurate, that almost $1 billion is being left uncollected. We also support House Bills 1065, 67, and 68, which would reduce the amount of tax credits and tax exemptions that special interests now get. I serve on the Ways and Means Committee, and we probably passed 40 or 50 bills last year that generated about $100 million in tax exemptions. And that was last year when we cut another $2.5–3 billion out of the budget. This is a small step toward fairness as the state budget is cutting health, education, social services for families by 8% to 40% or more in the fiscal year 2010 and 2011 budgets. We have billions of dollars in tax credits and exemptions on the books that favor special interests. most of which, as Representative Roberta Abdul-Salam said, we don't even know how much those exemptions are truly valued at. We've passed them, we leave them on the books, and never go back to track what they're really doing, how effective they are, or how ineffective they might be. And I submit to you that some of them may be working, and we need to know that as well. This year, the governor and the legislature are cutting every program in state government, eliminating many worthy programs and leaving education, healthcare, public safety, and social services deeply underfunded at a time when demand for those services is rising. A temporary, across-the-board cut of 15% for 2 years, applied to all tax credit and particularly tax exemptions, will generate desperately needed funds. And it also spreads the pain. This is only fair. I sit on the House Ways and Means Committee, as I said, and meeting after meeting, the committee hears bills that continue to propose tax cuts without reliable data to show these tax cuts, whether they create jobs or save money or increase revenue for the state. While we are furloughing teachers and state workers and cutting program after program, it's only fair to make a comparable temporary reduction to tax credits and tax exemptions for special interests.
We're going to have a wrap-up for this press conference and take questions following the remarks to draw all this together by Representative Debbie Buckner from Talbot County.
Thank you. First of all, thank you all for being here, and I hope that what we have been able to show the people of Georgia today is that we are working hard for working families, trying to find solutions that will not further hurt them. I know when I go home on the weekend and sit around the kitchen table, we talk about the bills and which ones will get paid and which ones we'll pay part of, and I've got a feeling other families are doing the same thing. The state of Georgia's budget, as it should be, is a balanced budget, just like the balanced scales that you've seen. And when we take something off one side, it affects the other side. We cannot continue to cut and cut and cut and give away special tax interest. We cannot continue to allow people to pay their fair share, work hard and pay their fair share, and have others not pay their taxes, not have it collected. We cannot continue to have opportunities out there for us to get revenue into the state coffers to be able to pay for things as important as education, health care, safety. So we have offered a variety of options, and if you take the minimum amount that's been estimated for each of these options and add them up, it still comes up to about $1.2 billion. We have found some money for the state budget, but we have got to get our colleagues to support them and put them in place. So thank you for listening, and thank you for being here.